Hello everyone, today we discuss about the history of clinical research. The history first recorded control trial Dr. James Lind. James Lind, a Scottish physician born in 1716, is considered by the very first physician to have performed a controlled clinical trial in the modern era. Lind, while working as a surgeon on a ship in the British Royal Navy, noticed the high mortality rate of scurvy among sailors. In an attempt to find a more effective method for treating the disease, Lind designed a comparative trial. The trial induced various treatment plans for 12 different sailors affected by scurvy. In his depth recordings of the trial, he explained, their cases were as similar as I could have them. They lay together in one place and had one diet common to them all. After his trial, Lind noted that the most sudden and visible good effects were seen in patients who consume oranges and lemons in addition to their common diets. The introduction of placebo, while Lind's study may have paved the way of controlled trials, it took nearly 150 more years for the placebo to be introduced. In 1863, US physician Austin Flint planned a clinical study that compared a dummy treatment to an active one. His study, which included 13 patients with rheumatism, gave subjects an herbal extract as opposed to the established remedy for rheumatism. Flint would later describe the treatment as a placebo remedy. Clinical trials of the 1940s, introducing randomization and double-blind approach. In the early to mid 1940s, modern approaches to clinical research came to fruition. In 1943, a British group carried out the first double-blind control trial while investigating a treatment for the common cold. Unfortunately, the analysis of trial data did not show any protective effect. 3 years later, 1946, the randomized control trial took place. The study, conducted in the UK, used a meticulous design and implementation plan to analyze the effect of streptomycin in pulmonary tuberculosis. The introduction of Evolution Contract Research Organization. The first CRO-like companies were established in 1940s and 1950s. These companies typically provided animals for clients to run tests on or conducted animal testing themselves. They weren't just limited to pharmaceutical. The original CROs work with clients in a range of scientific areas. As regulation increased for pharmaceutical products in the 1960s, however, offering preclinical testing of toxicology services for pharmaceutical companies became popular. In the late 1970s and 1980s, new players were introduced and the industry as it today began to emerge. Companies like Quantis, now IQVIA, Paraxel and PPD began. In addition to the traditional preclinical testing role, companies began offering services such as clinical trials, logistics, statistics, data management, and other functions. The rapid growth and expansion of CROs. By the late 18s and 19s, the industry was very rapidly developing. In the 1980s, blockbuster drugs such as the first statin and the SSRI Prozac were approved, and costs in the industry were quickly rising. Between the 1990s and the mid 2000s, CRO services increased from 4% of R&D spent to nearly 50%. A flood of mergers and acquisitions began. Some CROs began offering outsourcing for areas like drug discovery and medical marketing. The relationship between CROs and pharmaceutical companies also began changing. If a drug company wanted an article by Robin Walsh on Farfarom describes it could do not work of its own, not at all, outsourcing the entire process of to CROs. The CRO industry today and beyond. As of 2021, reports have stated that the global CRO industry is expected to reach over 64 billion by 2027. It also continues to be marked by a number of mergers and acquisitions, such as Icon places $12 billion acquisition of PRA Health Sciences in the late February 2021. The COVID 19 pandemic has certainly had an effect on the CRO industry. For one, it has accelerated the adoption of trial decentralization. According to an Oracle study, 76% of survey respondents had stated that the pandemic had accelerated their adoption of decentralized clinical trials. DCT. Okay, thank you.